After drifting in silent stasis beyond the rim of the galaxy for longer than anyone could measure, humanity's hidden armada began to wake. The ships had slept through ages of darkness, dust, and drifting stars. Their metal hulls were covered in frozen particles from millions of years of quiet travel. The engines were silent, the lights were cold, and the people inside had not taken a breath in eons. But now, something had changed. A signal had reached them, a sound born from an ancient promise many ages old. Inside the flagship Aurora Spear, soft lights flickered on for the first time since human history had faded into myth across the galaxy. Screens awoke, humming with gentle colors. Machines shook off layers of frost. Deep within the ship, the crew began to stir inside their stasis pods. The pods hissed and opened slowly, letting warm air spread across the chamber. Captain Laura Kent opened her eyes. For a moment she did not remember where she was or why she had slept. Her breath trembled as she sat up, her body heavy from the long rest. She waited, letting her mind adjust as soft lights glowed around her. The world felt strange, quiet, still. She touched the edge of the pod and looked around at the others who were waking beside her. Lieutenant Jason Clark pushed himself upright and let out a long breath. His voice cracked as he spoke, asking how long they had been asleep. No one answered right away because no one knew the exact number. They only knew it had been longer than any normal lifetime, maybe longer than many civilizations had existed. Engineer Megan Porter stepped out of her pod and shook the stiffness from her legs. She touched a nearby control panel to check the time records, but the system struggled to process the data. Some of the logs were too old to read without careful repair. She frowned and tried to restore the basic functions. The crew moved slowly, learning to breathe deeply again. They stretched their arms and legs, letting life return to their bodies. Many stared at the ceiling with confusion. Some whispered questions. Others listened for instructions. Only Captain Laura Kent stayed silent for a long moment, watching the screens around her as they brightened. When she finally stood, the crew followed her lead. They trusted her even before their memories returned fully. They knew she had been chosen long ago for her calm voice and steady judgment. She walked to the nearest console and pressed her hand against the scanner. The system recognized her and unlocked the command interface. A soft chime filled the room. "Welcome back," the ship's gentle voice said. Everyone froze, listening. Captain Laura Kent asked the question they all carried in their minds. "Why did we wake?" The screen answered with simple letters. A signal had reached them. A signal that the old human civilization had prepared before falling into the long silence. Jason Clark stepped closer. "So the plan worked," he whispered. Megan Porter nodded slowly. "Humanity survived, in a way." The screen displayed more information now. The activation signal had been triggered by the return of cosmic stability. Their ancestors had predicted a massive disaster, something that could tear through worlds and end all familiar life. To protect the species, they built a fleet capable of sleeping through the ages. People inside the Armada had been chosen for their skills and their ability to rebuild society when the cosmos was safe again. Laura Kent followed the data across the screen. She felt a weight settle in her chest. They were the last planned guardians of a species that had once filled the stars. Now they were the first humans awake after eons. She breathed in slowly. "We need to get to the bridge," she said. The crew followed her through the corridors. The hallways were dim and cold, but the lights turned on as they passed. The air systems hummed louder as they restarted. The ship felt like a sleeping giant stretching after a long rest. When they reached the bridge, the large windows showed the dark beauty of space. Stars glowed in the distance, but none of the patterns were familiar. The galaxy had shifted during their long silence. The constellations humans once knew were gone. Jason Clark stared out at the drifting stars. "This doesn't look like home," he whispered. Megan Porter checked the navigation grid. System struggled to rebuild the star map. So much time had passed that most of their reference points were no longer in the same positions. "Give it time," she said quietly. "The system will learn the new patterns." Captain Laura Kent walked to her chair and sat down slowly. The seat felt cold but familiar. She touched the command panel beside her. Data streams appeared on the main screen. A file opened automatically. It showed ancient reports from the final days before humanity went into hiding. The tone was fearful and urgent. The threats were real. The world had faced something impossible to stop. The leaders at the time had chosen one last path, sleep until the danger passed. But another file appeared beneath the first. It carried a different tone. It contained messages from the late centuries after humanity had fallen silent. Other civilizations had risen in that time. They discovered the traces of humanity and tried to understand who they were. Some respected them. Some feared them. And one empire, the oldest still living in the galaxy, had rewritten the story. Megan Porter read aloud as the words scrolled across the screen. According to the Orion Dominion, humanity vanished before their empire began. They call humans an ancient myth, a forgotten species, a lost race. Jason Clark raised a brow. Lost, we were right here the whole time. Laura Kent leaned back slowly, thinking. They did not know. To them, we became a story, something old, something that did not matter anymore. The ship displayed more records. The Orion Dominion had expanded for thousands of years, shaping the galaxy under their rule. They believed themselves to be the oldest force still standing. They built monuments to their own strength. They changed the stories of earlier civilizations, placing themselves at the center of history. Jason frowned. So they think they own the galaxy now. Maybe, Laura said, but that does not change why we are here. The Armada's deep systems awakened more fully now. Engines tested themselves, shields warmed, communications opened. Thousands of ships across the sleeping fleet started to glow with life. It was a sight no one had seen in countless ages, a human fleet bright and strong rising from silence. Megan studied the power readings. The ships are stable, but some systems will need repairs before we travel far, Laura nodded. We take it slow. We do not rush. We understand the galaxy first. Jason looked uncomfortable. What if someone already knows we are awake? The question lingered in the air. The truth was simple. If their activation signal could reach the fleet, then it could also be detected by others. A soft alarm beeped. A proximity alert blinked on the main screen. Megan stepped forward quickly. Something is approaching, she said. Jason stiffened. A ship. The sensors struggled to focus. The object was too far away to identify clearly, but it moved with intention. It was not drifting. It was not natural. It was controlled. Captain Laura Kent stood slowly, her breath steady. Open a visual channel, she said. The screen flickered. Static filled the display. Then a faint outline appeared. A ship dark and sharp, shaped unlike anything humans had built. It carried long wings and a glowing symbol. Jason recognized it from the reports. That is a Dominion mark. The ship did not fire. It did not send a message. It simply watched. Laura Kent narrowed her eyes. They saw the activation signal. Megan shook her head. We just woke up. How fast do they move? Jason answered quietly. Fast enough. They have been the oldest empire for so long that they must have eyes everywhere. The Dominion ship remained still, observing the growing brightness of the Armada. It seemed unsure whether the humans were a threat or only a curiosity. The bridge grew quiet. Laura Kent made her decision. We will not act with fear, she said softly. We are not enemies. We are a species returning to life. Megan exhaled slowly. Jason nodded but looked tense. The Dominion ship turned slightly as if scanning them. Then, with a smooth shift, it disappeared into the distance. It left without a word. Jason let out a shaky breath. They are going to tell someone, Laura nodded. Yes, they will tell their empire that humanity has returned. The crew exchanged unsure glances. They had no idea what this old empire would do. Would they fear humanity? Would they refuse to let them rise again? Would they want to destroy the humans before they grew strong? Laura Kent placed her hand on the command panel. Prepare the ship, prepare the fleet. If the galaxy is watching, then we must show that we are not a lost myth. We are alive. Megan checked the systems again. Engines are stable. Life support is strong. The core power is balanced. Jason looked at the map as it updated with new stars and unknown regions. Where do we go first? Laura Kent looked out into the endless dark. She did not know the new galaxy. She did not know the new civilizations, but she knew their purpose. We go where we must, she said softly. We understand this new galaxy. We learn who has risen. We learn what humanity left behind. The Armada shifted into formation, ready to take its first breath of movement in eons. Outside the windows, the stars seemed to tremble with the awakening of a species thought long gone. Humanity had returned. And somewhere in the far reaches of the galaxy, The oldest empire was already preparing to respond. The news of the awakening Armada spread across the galaxy faster than light could travel. It moved through listening posts, through silent satellites, through hidden relay stations forgotten by most civilizations. Every device that could sense energy felt the same thing. Something enormous, something old, something powerful had come back to life outside the rim of the galaxy. No one knew what it meant yet, but everyone wanted answers. Inside the Dominion capital world, the halls of the Grand Spire shook with hurried voices. The spire was a massive tower of crystal and metal, reaching high into the sky, glowing with shifting colors. It was the heart of the Orion Dominion, the oldest empire still standing. Their rulers believed they had seen every kind of threat the galaxy could offer. They believed nothing new could surprise them. But the signal from the edge of space told them they were wrong. Counselor Aaron Volley stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by dozens of tall screens showing the same alert. His voice was calm, but his eyes were tight with worry. The message displayed the power readings of the awakening fleet, and each line made the council grow more silent. "This should not exist," one council member whispered. "Nothing from that era survived," another said. Aaron Volley folded his hands. "Something survived. And it has awakened." He turned as the doors opened and General Karen entered. She wore armor of deep silver and carried the expression of someone ready for battle. The council quieted at once. General Karen asked, "Has the identity of the fleet been confirmed?" Aaron Volley nodded slowly. "Yes, the energy signatures match those of the ancient human civilization." The council chamber filled with shocked whispers. Some did not believe it, others feared it. The Orion Dominion knew the stories. Humans were said to be dreamers, builders, and explorers. They had touched the stars long before the Dominion was formed. But the old tales also said humanity had destroyed itself, leaving behind nothing but ruins. General Karen looked at the latest scan. "How many ships?" "Thousands," Aaron answered. "All fully powered, all built with technology we cannot understand." The general's jaw tightened. "If they choose war, we cannot match them." Aaron Volley nodded again. "That is why we must choose our actions carefully." The council argued for a long time. Some wanted to prepare fleets for defense. Others wanted to hide the information. Others wanted to send a peaceful message. But no matter their opinions, one truth was clear. The Dominion had never faced something like this. Meanwhile, far away inside the human armada, the crew of the Aurora Spear continued to explore the new galaxy around them. They were slowly waking the other ships, checking systems, and trying to understand the changes that had taken place during their long sleep. Captain Laura Kent walked down the engineering corridor with Megan Porter. Sparks danced from exposed cables as teams worked to repair old damage. The air smelled of metal and new energy. "How many ships are fully operational now?" Laura asked. Megan checked her tablet. "About 200 so far. More will be ready soon. Some will need more time." Laura nodded. "Good, we do not know who will meet us first, so we must be ready." Jason Clark ran toward them with a serious look. "Captain, you should come to the bridge. We have received a message." Laura felt tension in her chest. "From who?" Jason shook his head. "We don't know yet." They hurried to the bridge. The message was already playing on the main screen, but the translation systems were still catching up. Strange symbols and sounds filled the air. "Is this the Dominion language?" Laura asked. Megan nodded. "It matches the patterns in the old archives." The system finished decoding and a voice came through. "This is the Orion Dominion. Identify yourselves. State your purpose." Jason let out a soft breath. "They know we are here." Laura sat slowly in her chair. "Open a reply channel." The system blinked green. The connection waited. Laura spoke clearly, letting her voice carry strength without threat. "This is Captain Laura Kent of the human Armada. We have awakened from long stasis. We come in peace and seek understanding." There was silence for a few seconds. Then the Dominion responded. "Humanity is believed extinct. Your presence is unexpected and concerning. Remain where you are. Do not advance." Jason frowned. "They think they can order us around." Laura raised her hand gently. "We do not know how they see us. They have ruled the galaxy for a very long time." The message continued. "We will send a diplomatic vessel. Do not attempt to hide or escape." The screen turned black. Jason crossed his arms. "So they want to keep us in one place." Megan looked at the readings again. At least they did not threaten us, not directly. Laura tapped the command panel twice. We will wait, but we will also prepare. Hours passed. The Armada floated in space, glowing like a field of stars arranged in perfect order. The smaller ships moved carefully, testing their engines. Repair drones drifted through the formation. Everything seemed calm. Then a new signal appeared. Megan pointed at the screen. The Dominion vessel has arrived. A dark, sharp ship emerged from a jump field. It was smaller than a warship but larger than a shuttle. It moved smoothly toward the Aurora Spear. Jason stared at it. It looks less threatening than the one we saw earlier. Laura nodded. It is a diplomatic ship. They are trying to show they are not coming for war. The Dominion ship stopped at a safe distance. A message followed. We request permission to send a representative to your vessel. Laura thought for a moment. The risks were clear, but refusing might be worse. Permission granted, she replied. A small transport detached from the Dominion vessel and drifted toward the Aurora Spear. The humans watched closely. The transport connected to the docking bay with a soft metallic sound. Laura walked with Jason, Megan, and a team of security officers to meet the visitor. The docking doors opened slowly. A figure stepped through. He was tall and wore smooth robes with glowing lines. His eyes were sharp but not hostile. He looked around with interest, studying every detail. I am Ambassador Aaron Valles, he said. Laura stepped forward. I am Captain Laura Kent. Welcome aboard. Aaron bowed his head slightly. Your existence is extraordinary. The galaxy believed your species lost to time. Laura offered a calm smile. We survived. We slept because our world was in danger. Now we have returned. Aaron looked thoughtful. Your return raises many questions. Jason asked, is the Dominion afraid of us? Aaron turned his eyes to him. The Dominion does not fear lightly, but your Armada is powerful. It has awakened without warning. That alone is enough to cause concern. Laura gestured for him to follow. We mean no harm. We only want to understand the new galaxy. Aaron walked beside her. Then we may have a chance for peace. They reached the briefing room. The table lit up with star maps. Aaron studied the display. You have missed many ages, he said softly. Empires rose and fell. Worlds changed. The Orion Dominion endured. We shaped the galaxy. We kept peace where we could, but we also made choices that others did not always agree with. Laura asked, what does the Dominion want from us? Aaron hesitated. First, we want to know if you plan to claim your old worlds. Megan replied, we do not even know where they are now. Aaron nodded slowly. Then we will help you learn. But you must also understand something. Your awakening will shake the galaxy. Some will fear you. Some will try to use you. Some will want to destroy you before you grow stronger. Jason asked quietly, what about the Dominion? What do you want? Aaron met his eyes. We want stability. If you come peacefully, we can work together. If you come with force, we will resist. Even if we cannot match your power, we will not surrender our place. Laura understood his meaning. The Dominion saw themselves as guardians of the galaxy. They would not let humanity rise too quickly. Laura said, we only want a place in the galaxy again, nothing more. Aaron smiled faintly. Then we may stand as allies instead of enemies. The meeting lasted for hours. They spoke about history, technology, culture, and the challenges between them. Aaron listened to their story of stasis with interest and respect. The humans listened to his description of the Dominion with curiosity. But there was tension, too. The Dominion did not want to lose control of the galaxy. Humanity did not want to be guided or limited by an empire they had never known. When the meeting ended, Aaron Valles stood. I will report to the Dominion Council, he said. I will tell them you seek peace, but I cannot promise how they will respond. Laura nodded. We understand. Aaron bowed his head one last time and returned to his ship. When he was gone, Jason exhaled deeply. Do you trust him? Laura looked at the stars beyond the window. I trust that he wants peace, but peace may not be what everyone else wants. Megan checked the sensors again. The galaxy knows we are here now. More ships will come, some friendly, some not. Laura nodded slowly. Then we prepare for all possibilities, we learn, we grow, and we decide our future with clarity. The Armada glowed quietly as the Dominion ship disappeared into the distance. Across the galaxy, worlds whispered, fleets moved, councils met. Old rivalries awakened. The return of humans was like a spark thrown into dry grass. Some would reach out a hand. Some would sharpen their blades. And in the center of it all, humanity took its first steps back into a galaxy that had forgotten them. The real test had not yet begun. The galaxy did not rest after the fleets returned to their home systems. The visit to the human armada became the center of every major council meeting, every quiet discussion in trading ports, and every hidden talk among military leaders. Some believed humanity could become a strong ally. Some believed they would bring disaster. Some thought they would bring balance. Others feared they would break it. Inside the Dominion capital, the council chamber glowed with shifting blue light as Ambassador Aaron Volley stood before the rulers. His report about the humans was detailed and calm, but the room stirred with uneasiness. "They are not aggressive," Aaron said. "They speak with clarity and restraint, but their strength is real. Their ships carry technology beyond our understanding." One council member leaned forward. "Can we control them?" Aaron shook his head slowly. "No, and trying to control them would bring danger. They endured eons of silence. They can endure more, but they do not seek war." General Karen crossed her arms. "Not yet," Aaron replied. "They slept through the ages while our empire grew. They did not threaten us then, and they do not threaten us now." The council was divided. Some agreed with Aaron. Others believed humanity's return was the beginning of a new conflict. A final decision was made. The Dominion would send a high-level delegation to meet with the human leaders and discuss their future in the galaxy. Meanwhile, aboard the Aurora Spear, the crew continued preparations. Systems grew stronger, weapons more stable, engines more ready. But the greatest work happened in the halls where humans discussed their new role. Laura Kent met with Jason Clark and Megan Porter at the central planning table. The screen above them displayed star maps, political borders, and the locations of known fleets. Jason pointed at a highlighted region. "The Dominion will come soon. They have been watching every step." Megan nodded. "They are powerful. Even if their technology is old compared to ours, their reach across the galaxy is vast." Laura stood quietly for a moment. "We must show them we are not here to challenge their control, but we must also show them we will not bow to it." Jason sighed. "There is a thin line between peace and misunderstanding." Laura looked at him. "Yes, and we must walk it carefully." An alert chimed through the room. A message had arrived. Megan opened it. "It is from the Dominion. They request a diplomatic meeting. Their highest council will send representatives." Jason asked, "When?" Megan scrolled through the message. "They are already on their way." Laura breathed out slowly. "Then we prepare for a meeting that will shape the next age." The next day, a sharp ripple of light appeared outside the Armada. A massive Dominion vessel emerged from a jump field. It was not a warship, but it carried the weight of political authority. Its smooth wings glowed with soft blue light. It moved with slow grace, as if proud of its long history. Jason watched it from the bridge. "They want to impress us," Megan replied. "They want to remind us that they still rule the galaxy." Laura stood focused. "Prepare the docking bay. I will receive them personally." The Dominion delegation arrived with calm, measured steps. Their leader was an elder named Saren Valor, known across the galaxy for wisdom and firmness. His eyes were bright with knowledge gathered through a lifetime of leadership. He bowed gently to Laura. "Captain Laura Kent, it is an honor to stand before the first awakened human leader in countless ages." Laura returned a respectful nod. "Welcome aboard the Aurora Spear." Saren's expression remained unreadable. "The galaxy trembles with your return. Some tremble in fear, some in hope. We must decide which one we choose." Laura gestured for him to follow. "Then let us talk." They entered the main meeting hall. The room was open and bright, with large windows showing the scattered lights of the Armada. A long table sat in the center, simple but strong. Saren sat across from Laura with Aaron Volleys and several Dominion advisors beside him. Jason and Megan sat with Laura, representing the human leadership. Saren spoke first. "Humanity was believed lost. Your silence lasted beyond the memory of most civilizations. And now you return with a fleet capable of reshaping the galaxy." "What do you seek?" Laura answered calmly. "A place to belong. A future where our people can live without fear. We do not want to rule. We do not want to conquer. We simply want a chance to grow." Saren's eyes narrowed slightly. "And your fleet, why was it built with such power?" Megan explained gently. "Our ancestors built it to survive a cosmic disaster. They did not know what would remain when we woke. They prepared us for danger, not dominance. Saren listened carefully. Many will not believe that. They will see your strength and assume you seek control. Jason spoke up. We have not fired a single weapon. We have not made a single threat. If we wanted war, the first fleets that approached us would not have returned home. A Dominion advisor raised an eyebrow. A bold statement. Jason replied calmly, a true one. The room grew quiet. Saren folded his hands. The Dominion has stood for ages. We have kept peace through power and order. Your return challenges that balance, not because of your actions, but because of your potential. Laura leaned forward slightly. We do not wish to break the balance. We wish to improve it if we are given the chance. Aaron Volleys nodded slowly. I believe their intentions are honest. One advisor shook his head. Honesty is not enough. What if their descendants choose war one day? What if their growth becomes too fast? Laura answered with steady eyes. Then the galaxy will face us with the same strength it faces every threat. But we cannot be punished today for the fears of tomorrow. Saren looked at her with growing respect. You speak with the voice of someone who carries the weight of many lives. Laura lowered her voice slightly. I do. Saren stood, walking to the window. He looked out at the Armada shining like a sea of stars. For ages, he said softly, the Dominion believed itself the final guardian of the galaxy. Perhaps we were mistaken. Perhaps the galaxy has room for more than one guiding hand. He turned back to Laura. I offer a proposal, a pact of cooperation. The Dominion will recognize humanity as an independent power. In return, humanity will agree to open communication, peaceful dialogue, and transparency. Jason leaned toward Laura. This is big. They never offer equal status. Megan whispered, it is a chance. Laura faced Saren. We accept cooperation, but there is something we also ask. Saren raised a brow. What is that? Laura stepped toward the window. Freedom. The freedom to rebuild, to travel, to learn, to grow, without being limited by fear or suspicion. Saren nodded slowly. Agreed, but your growth must be steady and open. Hidden power is dangerous. Laura replied, then nothing will be hidden. They returned to the table. Saren offered his hand. Then let this be the beginning of a new age, one where the oldest empire and the returning species walk forward together. Laura shook his hand. The moment felt heavy with meaning. The pact was not perfect. It carried risks. It carried expectations. But it also carried hope. The meeting lasted for hours more. They discussed terms, communication channels, shared agreements, and future cooperation. By the time the meeting ended, both sides felt a quiet sense of progress. When Saren and his delegation left the ship, they looked calmer, more certain. As their vessel drifted away, Jason asked Laura, do you think they trust us now? Laura watched the stars. Not fully, but trust begins with small steps. Megan smiled a little. We took a big step today. Laura nodded. Yes, and now the galaxy watches what we do next. The days that followed were filled with messages from many worlds. Some offered friendship, some offered trade, some offered warnings. A few offered threats, but the tone of the galaxy had changed. The humans were no longer a mystery. They were becoming a part of the future. Inside the Armada, work continued. Crews explored distant systems. Engineers restored old ship sections. Scientists studied stars that had shifted over the Eons. Every day, humanity grew more certain of its place. Late one night, Laura stood alone on the bridge. The stars glowed in quiet beauty. She thought of the ancestors who had built the ships, who had believed in a future they would never see. Jason entered quietly. Couldn't sleep, Laura smiled. Not tonight, too much to think about. Jason nodded. We really did it. We came back to a galaxy that forgot us, and we didn't break it. We didn't run from it, we stood in it. Laura turned toward him. We will face challenges. Not everyone wants peace, but we are not alone anymore. Jason looked at the stars. Do you think our ancestors would be proud? Laura breathed deeply. I think they believed in this moment, and that belief carried us here. Megan joined them quietly. The Armada is ready for its next journey. Where will we go first? Laura looked out at the endless galaxy. We go forward, she said softly. Into the new age we helped create. Into the future we have earned. The three of them stood together, watching the horizon of stars. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had returned, and their greatest journey was only beginning.